The Sportscast, April 24th, 2023. If you haven't yet, please subscribe in all our channels: YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Apple Podcasts. You can also listen to us on your smart speaker. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please leave a rating and a review. It will help us out tremendously. We're also on online digital radio. It will help us out tremendously if you visit us on the sportscast.net. Also, follow us on Twitter and Instagram on the Sportscast One. The Sportscast One is our username, our handle, or check out our app, the Sportscast for iOS. This week begins the 2023 NFL Draft begins this Thursday live at 8 p.m. on ESPN, ABC, or ESPN Plus. And a lot going on. We got shows all week to discuss what's going to happen, the future of that club, that one pick that could change your club, your team in a heartbeat. Join us live from Western Pennsylvania, Joe Toscano. Welcome back to the Sportscast.
It's about dang time you had me back. No, just kidding. It's always great to be on. Yeah, there was a bit of a lull in the NFL off season, but this week is one of the biggest events of the year. And like you said, what happens this weekend may determine how a team does this entire year. It could make or break a team.
It could very well. A lot of teams up in the top. The Panthers are in that running to maybe get a quarterback. We got the Texans, the Cardinals. So a lot happening, a lot of trades, of course. But Joe, how big is the NFL draft for you? Is this as big as the Super Bowl? Big as Week 1?
Not as I would say Super Bowl week one. Super Bowl is number one, week one is number two, but the NFL draft is number three. I'm not a huge college football fan, but I pay very closely attention to basically everything that happens in the draft process from February until now. And I'm very interested in where everyone goes, and I hear all the things about all the news and stuff like that. So this is a very big deal for me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the event will be held in Kansas City this year for the first time. They've been rotating to different cities. Vegas was a year ago. Before that, was it Vegas? And then it was I don't remember exactly, but there was one year. It was 2020. It was held at Roger Goodell's basement. So this year will be in Kansas City. It was at the Cowboy Stadium in Texas a couple years ago. Where has been your favorite places for the NFL draft to be held? Oh, also in Tennessee as well, another year. So
I am old school, and I loved when the NFL draft was all day Saturday. Started Saturday morning, and I think they did. I don't know if they did all the rounds, or maybe they did some rounds Saturday and some rounds Sunday, but that Saturday was so much fun. You just took the whole day off and you just immersed yourself in the NFL draft. And it was in, I believe, New York, and the New York fans were so nasty. They were so, especially when the Jets would pick or something like that, and they would get so just so loud and just rowdy, and it was a lot of fun. So that was my favorite thing. It's really cool that they have these experiences. I think Vegas is probably like the best venue to have something like that, but it's cool that they have it in other towns.
yeah, absolutely. I thought the Vegas stop was great. They're not going to keep it there permanently. They're going to move to Kansas this year. Who knows about the future years? So we'll see what happens. Let's look into the draft order for the 23 draft. The Carolina Panthers are number 1 pick. They got the trade from Chicago. Number 2, Houston, Texas. 3, Arizona Cardinals. 4, Indianapolis Colts. 4, Seattle Seahawks. 6, Detroit Lions. 7, Raiders. 8, Atlanta. 9, Chicago. 10, Philadelphia. 11, Tennessee. 12, Houston Texans. 13, New York Jets. 14, New England Patriots. 15, Green Bay Packers. 16, Washington Commanders. 17, Pittsburgh Steelers. 18 Detroit Lions, 19 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 20 Seattle Seahawks, 21 LA Chargers, 22 Baltimore Ravens, 23 Minnesota Vikings, 24 Jacksonville Jaguars, 25th New York Giants, 26 Dallas Cowboys, 27 Buffalo Bills, 28 Cincinnati Bengals, 29 New Orleans Saints, 30 Philadelphia Eagles, and 31 Kansas City Chiefs. Let's go to the top, Joe. Carolina Panthers, interesting couple years. They had a few quarterbacks. Now they need a quarterback. They haven't had a quarterback since Cam Newton. They had Sam Arnold for a bit, and of course, they did have Baker Mayfield for a year, but that didn't work out. He moved to Los Angeles. Your thoughts on that number one pick? What should the Panthers get?
They traded up. This was originally Chicago's pick. They traded up to get the number one overall pick. So they are going for it. They're going all in and saying, we want our franchise quarterback. The franchise quarterback or the quarterback is the most important position on the team. And whether you have a good one or bad one makes or breaks your entire team. You can have great players at every single other position, but if you have a bad quarterback, look at the Jets last year. They were a good team with a lousy quarterback and they didn't go anywhere. So the Carolina is going all in. Everything I hear is they're getting Bryce Young. I'm not a fan of that, but hey, that's who they think is going to help them. They're obviously number one overall pick. You want them to be a superstar, so they are going for it.
And here are the quarterbacks that are prospective quarterbacks for this year's draft. Number one, as Joe said, Bryce Young from Alabama had a stellar year. He has won the Heisman. Yeah, he did win a national championship about 2 years ago. Number two is CJ Stroud, Ohio State. A lot of talk about him. He's a potential first pick draft. Number three, Will Levis from Kentucky. Number four, Anthony Richardson. A lot of talk of him for the past couple weeks. Maybe thought be the number one pick. He's dropped a little bit on the standings. This is a chart from the PFF. So this is a pro football, pro football site. Number five, Hendon Hooker, who's coming out of injury. He hasn't played for a whole season, I believe, but he has a lot of potential. But he is in that category. Hey, he could get drafted in the first round. 6, McKee from Stanford. 7, Dorian Thompson-Robinson from UCLA. 8, Jake Hanner, Fresno State. Number 9, Clayton Tune, Houston. 10, Stetson Bennett, a guy that was a walk-on to Georgia, is in the top 10. So, Joe, you don't think Bryce Young, should be drafted first to Carolina? Who do you think from this list should?
I mean, if you look at everything about Bryce Young, his numbers were amazing. But the reason why I'm down on him is his size. He is so small. And you say, oh, yeah, well, Russell Wilson was small. Kyler Murray was small. Yeah, but those are the exceptions to the rule. That's why you want like a Josh Allen type, a 6'5", 250-pound guy that could run. That's who you want. A little guy like this, yeah, it could work. He could be awesome. But look at Kyler Murray. He's hurt all the time. It's just such a gamble. He could be awesome, and obviously he's going to go number one overall. So a lot of people think very highly of him. I'm just not high on him.
Yeah, Young, he earned a 92.2 grade in 2021. He has won the Heisman, and he has a good grading for according to PFF. So, what are your thoughts over CJ Stroud?
CJ Stroud's awesome, and the thing about, I think the big story of this draft and just about every draft lately is you want your quarterback. So, there's all this talk of, there's Tyree Wilson from Texas Tech, the edge rusher, and Will Anderson from Will Anderson from Alabama, edge rusher, and Jalen Carter, where are they going to go? They're all going to go high, but it seems like all of the teams that want their quarterback, they're going to do everything they can to get their quarterback. That's what Carolina did. They traded up to the number 1 overall spot with the Bears. They said, we are getting the guy we want. Then after that, it's probably going to be CJ Stroud that goes, and he's probably going to go 2 or 3. And somebody is going to trade up to get these people if the team isn't sitting there. Like they're Houston, they're talking about Houston's not going to take a quarterback. Well, if they don't take a quarterback, then they should trade back 1 or 2 spots because somebody's going to want their quarterbacks. Stroud is probably going to go. I'm hearing there's all kinds of talk that Will Levis is going to go high, and there's all kinds of talk that Richardson is going to go high, which makes a lot of sense. Like I said, quarterback is your number 1 position. So you want your guy, and you'll do whatever you can to get your guy. So somebody is going to trade up. Crazy things could happen. Houston could take Tyree Wilson or Anderson, and then at the 3rd spot, Arizona is going to be sitting pretty. Obviously, Arizona is not going to take a quarterback, so they could trade. Maybe Indianapolis will want to move up a spot. Maybe Tennessee desperately needs a quarterback. Maybe they'll move up. Atlanta could move up. Who knows? So the quarterbacks are going to go early. Somebody might fall, Will Levis, maybe he'll go early, maybe he'll fall a little bit, maybe Richardson will go early, maybe he'll fall a little bit. But the big story is the quarterbacks, they're probably going to be taken early.
Yeah, exactly. As Joe said, this is the kind of news to me that Houston might not take a quarterback, but they got Davis Mills.
Yeah. Exactly.
Do they believe in him?
You're right. Davis Mills ain't it. He's not that guy. If you're Houston, you want to take it. But look who's the coach. Who's the coach of Texas? He just got named the coach. D'Amico Ryans. D'Amico Ryans is a defensive guy, so he might want his defensive superstar like a Will Anderson or a Tyree Wilson or something like that, or a Jalen Carter or something like that. Maybe he wants to build around defense. So. Who knows what's going to happen, but if I'm Houston and I take a defensive guy, I would trade with Indianapolis. Indianapolis desperately needs a quarterback. I would make a trade with them, or maybe with Arizona or something like that. I don't know, but I would trade back 1 or 2 spots if I'm not taking because somebody's going to want Stroud. Somebody's going to want the quarterback that they want. So that is a very prime trade candidate.
Quite exactly. Trades are always possible, guys. The day of, that single, that 1 hour when the draft begins, trades happen. And it's so exciting. That's why it makes the NFL draft very exciting. Who knows if Roger Goodell sets that up? No, I'm just kidding. But we'll see what happens in the next couple of days. It could happen the day before. So let's look at the top prospects for running backs. Bijan Robinson from Texas, very high value there. Jamar Gibbs from Alabama, another Alabama player. Zach Charbonnet, UCLA. Devon Achane from Texas A&M. TJ Spears from Tulane. Tanks Bigsby from Auburn. Dwayne McBride from UAB. Wow, this is interesting. Small school in Alabama. Rashawn Johnson from Texas. Chase Brown, Illinois. And Deuce Vaughn from Kansas. Those are the top prospects for running backs. Running backs in the top 10, Joe, are not very common. Some mock drafts are seeing Atlanta maybe picking up a running back. Perhaps the Philadelphia Eagles, even though I heard Jalen Hurts might go there. No, the guy, the Tennessee running back, Henry.
Derrick Henry.
Might go there.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry, possibly. I heard that rumor. So running backs, they're typically not in that top 10 corridor.
They're not even in the first round. That is the big debate. Right. A few years ago, the Steelers took Najee Harris, the running back from Alabama, in the first round, and he's worked out for them. But they got a lot of criticism for why are you taking a running back in the first round? And the reason is there are so many good running backs that get drafted into second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh round, even undrafted, that become good running backs. it's they say it's stupid to take a running back early because you could get a good one late. Bijan Robinson is the name. He is a potential superstar, and he could go anywhere. He could go top 10. He could go top 20. He could go. I think you could guarantee that he will go somewhere in the first round. If he goes late, a team like Philadelphia or Buffalo would love to have someone like him. So, it would be a perfect situation. So, I mean, it's just silly that we're talking about a running back is very important in a potential superstar, but the talk is, well, then don't take one early, take one, mid or late, because they're so productive late and you could find a good one late.
Yeah, exactly. As Joe said, they could go a little bit later in the round, but Bijan Robinson is a possibility in the first round, high probability. Let's look into these mock drafts I get from CBS, and this is kind of what I've seen other websites, Joe. So obviously, quarterbacks has been the top two. This is from Ryan Wilson from CBS and Chris Trapasso. The quarterbacks are going in the top two. Of course, Joe mentioned about trade, so this could change in the next couple of days. And then look, after that, you see an edge rusher. You're going to see another quarterback. Anthony Richardson might make the top 10. I really do think. And then edge, cornerback, which is a position we're going to talk about a little bit later, a little bit more. Defensive line and offensive tackle. And then maybe running back. This might be a little too far from a stretch, but a lot of it's defense.
Where do you have? Yeah. I mean, there's a, this draft is supposed to be very deep in cornerback. Apparently there's a lot of cornerbacks available, and you get really good ones even in the second, third, fourth round. So, that's one of the positions that the Steelers need. They need one, but the talk is, well, why get one early if you could get a good one later on? So we'll see. But yeah, there's a lot of defensive talent on this in this draft, and I think the big question is, where does Jalen Carter go? This is someone that might be one of the best players in this entire draft, but he has all those red flags. He had those legal troubles. He had problems. He didn't work out. Now that they said, well, he's going to he doesn't want to talk to anybody that outside the top 10. He's being cocky. There's a lot of red flags with him. So what do you do there? He could go top 5. He could go top 10. If he falls out of the top 10, all hell's going to break loose. Because there's going to be somebody is going to want him, and somebody's going to want to trade up for him. So I don't see him getting past the 9th pick. Who has 9?
9
Chicago. I don't
Bears.
see him getting past Chicago, but if he does get past Chicago, I could see Philadelphia taking him at 10. But if he gets out, if he gets past Philadelphia at 10, if he gets outside of the top 10, something is wrong. A lot of teams have a lot of concerns about him. He could fall like really bad. He might even fall out of the first round. Who knows? But most likely he'll go top 10.
Yeah. Jalen Carter is a talk of this draft. Yes, he has some legal issues, but very talented player from Georgia, which they have been producing some fantastic players this past couple of years. Cornerback, that has been a question mark for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Joe, I've been seeing this one name that's been popping up. Maybe you might agree with me. I've been seeing a lot of Deonte Banks from Maryland. What other names, or if you've been hearing that name precisely as well, going to Pittsburgh?
Well, the top names in cornerbacks, there's Devin Witherspoon from Illinois, and there's Christian Gonzalez from Oregon. They'll go probably top 10 or top 15. But outside of that, yeah, Banks from Maryland is a name I'm hearing, but the big name that everybody wants in Pittsburgh is Joey Porter Jr. because Joey Porter was a legend with the Steelers. He was a linebacker for the Steelers about 10-15 years ago, and now they have the chance to get his son who went to Penn State, and That's the sentimental pick. And it would be really cute because when Joey Porter was a player, he would bring his little boy to the facility, and he'd be playing on the in the locker room and stuff like that. And it'd be really cute if the little boy that was playing in the locker room became their number one, the first round draft pick in 2023. It would be really cute. We'll see. I keep seeing Porter going right before the Steelers at 16. I keep seeing Washington is going to take him. So
Yeah, for sure. Washington's been projected to go.
Yeah, so I could see that, but yeah, I'm hearing a lot of banks, and it's just a question of, do they go cornerback early or do they go for another position because cornerback is so deep in this draft?
What is the second position the Steelers are looking for besides cornerback?
Offensive tackle, defensive line are their big needs.
Interesting. I've been seeing one mock that says wide receiver. Is that something you think is a priority or not?
It's possible. It's possible, but they just traded with the Rams for Allen Robinson, so maybe that's not as much of a need. But I could totally see them going wide receiver. Maybe not at 17, but maybe in the second or third round.
What do you think about the Allen Robinson trade?
It's a nice gamble. They're apparently they're only paying $5 million of his salary, and they didn't really give up anything. I think they just swapped 7th round picks with the Rams. So it's a low risk gamble. I don't. People are very excited about it. I don't really see it because I've just seen the past couple of years where he's been a bust. But maybe he has something, and I don't think they're going to ask much of him. I think they just are going to use him as a slot receiver, and if that's the case, then he has a ton of ability. So it's a great low risk move. It could work out great, and even if it doesn't, who cares? You're not spending that much on him.
There have it. A big trade this past week, maybe one of the last trades before the NFL draft. Maybe we could see a trade concerning Aaron Rodgers, Jets, and Packers. Do you think?
So I think what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers is I think the holdup is the Packers say, we want your first round draft pick, and the Jets keep saying no. Well, if it comes to Thursday and the Jets are at 13 and they make that first round pick, then that option's off the table. And then maybe the Packers say, okay, well, I guess we'll take your second round pick, or I guess we'll take your first round pick next year or something like that. So I think a trade for Aaron Rodgers will happen later on Thursday after the Jets pick, or into Friday when the second round starts.
Let's read the rest of the wide receivers. Jackson Smith from Ohio State, top prospect. Jordan Addison from USC. Quentin Johnston from TCU. Zay Flowers from Boston College. Josh Downs from North Carolina. Tank Dell from Houston. Jalen Hyatt from Tennessee. Cedric Tillman from Tennessee. Rashee Rice from SMU. And Marvin Mims from Oklahoma. Which of these names stand out for you?
Jackson Smith and Jigba is supposed to be the top receiver, and he will go probably in the first round. Just where I've seen anywhere from the teens to the 20s, something like that. But somebody will take him because obviously every team needs a wide receiver. Jordan Addison. Before he was from USC, he transferred. He was from Pitt, and he had a great rapport with Kenny Pickett, who's the Steelers quarterback now. So that's another sentimental pick. Like, get Kenny Pickett, connection with his buddy again. So most likely Jordan Addison will be in the first round, but probably late. I hear a lot about Zay Flowers, and the thing about wide receivers is colleges always produce good wide receivers. So you could get one in a later round that could be very good.
There you have it. These are the top. Obviously, we can read some more positions out there, but just give you a snap preview of what's going to happen this Thursday. Joe, do you have any type of dark horse this Thursday you might have thought about these past couple of days, or you just have no idea what's going to happen?
I think the big wild card is Will Levis. I don't really I mean, he has the size, and he has some athleticism, but for some reason, people are talking that he might go, top 5 or something like that. All it takes is one team to fall in love with him, and they'll do it whatever it takes to get him. So I don't know. I don't see it, but I think that's a big wild card. Richardson is also a big wild card. He has amazing physical gifts. He's just very raw. So I could see some team taking him early. I mean, I could easily see a scenario where Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Levis, and Richardson all go top 4. I could easily see something like that. Just get all the quarterbacks out of the way. Hooker is another one. You talked about him before. It's just such a shame he got hurt, because if he didn't get hurt, he'd probably go top 5 or top 10. But still, that's a great find for a team, that somebody that has that first round ability, that has superstar ability, just because he got hurt. Okay, fine. Then you just wait a little bit, and you might have your superstar quarterback. So, maybe a lot of teams see that. Maybe he will go first round.
Yeah. A lot could happen that night. It could be all Alabama, straight card, or whatever they call it in poker. How important is the other lower rounds, round 2, 3, 4? I know they're not going to see the superstars, but one Bills owner or GM said that's how you feel your role players to win that championship. But how important is those lower rounds?
Not just your role players. You could get superstars in those second, third, and fourth rounds.
You
I
could.
think up to round 4 is where you get your starters. After that, rounds 5, 6, 7, those are just crapshoots. You're getting your depth players in those rounds. But the first 4 rounds, you should expect to get a starter from what you draft in those rounds. Last year, the Steelers' second round pick was blanking on, but he was a wide receiver from Georgia, and he got hurt, and that's why he fell to the second round. He's maybe their best wide receiver. You don't know. You could get a lot of good players in those second and third rounds. Yeah. There's a lot of talent there.
A lot of talent to look up, and hey, like I said earlier in the show, is to rebuild your team. And it might not be your whole team, but pieces by pieces. Hey, we were short last year, but maybe this will fill the hole. This will help us get into the playoffs. Things like that. Yes, rookies could change the game. They don't sit out their first year. A lot of them don't, but a lot of them just start and just make wonders. But anyways,
I was just going to say, look at Seattle last year. They were picked when they traded Russell Wilson. Everybody thought that they would be the worst team in the league. Well, they had an amazing draft. They had contributions from almost every single player they drafted, and they made the playoffs. The Jets were considered a joke, and they had an awesome draft, and they almost made the playoffs. So the draft really can. That's the wonderful thing about the NFL. You could be a terrible team one year, the next year you could be good. You could turn it around that quick if you have that good of a draft and that good of an offseason.
Exactly. And having a good team in the front office.
Yes.
Having a good GM, the coach. Where's the communication at? Yes, I need this player. Are you sure? Maybe this is maybe a little bit better. Things like that. So we'll see what happens this Thursday. A couple of notes. The Miami Dolphins forfeited their 2023 first round pick and 2024 third round pick following an investigation into whether the team violated league policies pertaining to the integrity of the game. Also, the NFL announced on March 9th that the Houston Texans will forfeit their 2023 fifth round pick due to a salary cap reporting violation from the 2020 league year. And that is all notes for this year's NFL draft. This Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern on ABC. Rounds 2 and 3 will be Friday and Friday only, April 20th, beginning at 7 p.m. And rounds 4 through 7 will be on Saturday, April 29th, beginning at noon Eastern. Most people watch Thursday, but Friday's pretty good, I think. And then the Saturday is for the football nerds like Joe.
Yeah, it's really interesting because Miami forfeited that first round pick. There's only 31 picks in the first round, and then the Steelers made a trade with Chicago during the season, and they have the Bears' second round pick. So the Steelers have the 32nd pick in the draft. They have the first pick of the second round, and it's expected they're going to trade it because you go through the first round and okay, that's done, and then there's probably still really good players still available that teams really want. So somebody's probably going to make a great offer to the Steelers for that 32nd pick.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
It's gonna happen. Anyways, Joe, what is the best way to reach you online to ask you, hey, should I have Super Bowl food on NFL draft?
You should totally do a Super Bowl spread on draft night. I mean, draft night's like 3-4 hours. So yeah, you gotta eat up. You gotta stay strong. So you go get your snacks. Joey Bag of Donuts, V instead of an F.
Exactly. My favorite part about the NFL draft is when the players come out and they hug Roger Goodell, and sometimes they carry him.
Okay, they get picked. They do the handshake with Roger Goodell, and they act like that player and Roger Goodell are lifelong friends that they've known forever. They're doing handshakes, they're doing hugs, and you know what? At that moment, you just became a millionaire. So, hey, yeah, hug whoever the heck you want. But it's just so silly that they have this deep personal connection with the commissioner of the NFL. They're shaking hands or hugging. Yeah, they pick him up. They like, dude, you don't know this guy. What are you talking about?
Bear hug, and they'll probably never see each other again.
Unless he gets suspended or something, then they're not hugging.
Exactly. Anyways, you can reach us at the Sportscast1 and the sportscast.net. This Thursday, we'll have a 2-hour special with the Jersey Boys Sports Talk, and we'll be all talking about what's going to happen. Well, we'll be there live talking about the draft and who got picked. Wednesday night, we'll have the NFL mock-up drafts with Alan West, and we'll have some guests there. But there you have it. Can't wait for this Thursday. Is another highlight moment of the NFL during the offseason. Joe, I appreciate you coming on to the Sportscast.
Always a pleasure coming on. Thanks for having me.
This was your update.